then automatically set a task to make a call next week, stuff like that. So there's a lot more you can do with it than just email, but I highly recommend it for anybody who, especially if you're just getting started, because it's relatively inexpensive compared to the other tools out there. Like, you can get started for like $10 a month on this thing, where like Infusion's like $1,000 down, and then like, I don't even know how much it is anymore. But yeah, this one's really, really stellar for that kind of stuff. Anybody using ActiveCampaign? So cool, I probably just sold, I need to get equity in, no, I'm just kidding. Email marketing, got a few here. I saw the head nod, I'm kind of in that boat too, like I need to email my list a little bit more. I have one, I swear. But yeah, this is a good, what do you use right now, if you don't mind? What is it? Get response, okay. Yeah, a lot of those, they're great, right? Like they all will broadcast well, but this one does some crazy automation stuff. So we're talking about Facebook messaging bots. You can get crazy dynamic with those. Like if someone says hello, you can say hi back. No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot more you can do with it. I actually, right? I'll show you one thing that I've been doing. This is a test right now, but I'll just give you a demonstration of what I've been doing with messenger bots since we're logged into Chris's Facebook. He's not paying attention. So this is another tool. This is a sales page I'm working on, which this is ClickFunnels. If you want to build landing pages pretty quickly, this is a pretty stellar tool for it. It's not loading the image, which makes no sense in context. But anyways, so this is an exit pop, and it looks like a mess right now because it hasn't all loaded in, but whatever. So are you guys familiar? I don't know how in depth he went on messenger bots, like what they can and can't do, some things like that. So think of it as just like an email opt-in. You're just getting the information, but instead of email, it's a Facebook message, right? So this little button here, that's built from a tool. What tool? Hey, Chris, can I interrupt you for a sec? What do you recommend for Facebook chat bots? What do you use like software-wise?
For software, ManyChat.
ManyChat? Yeah. Okay, I think that's what I use. I can't remember. But basically, if you click this button, it'll automatically send a message if they're logged in Facebook. So I'll show you. So I say, all right, send me my 200 favorite niche headlines. So if Chris clicked this, which I think he did, and then I'm going to message him. We're going to pull up his messages real quick. No, I got it. I'm not going to pull up all your messages, I promise. But check this out. So I just sent Chris this message. Hey, yeah, Chris, here's those niche templates you requested. Select one, the ones you like on this page, and I'll send them over to you. That's great copy. Oh, daggone it. So basically, with that one button that they clicked, I sent him a message, okay? Now, after that, I haven't set in the delay, but I'm going to send this a little bit later. Right now, it sends it right away, but see how it says FYI early bird discount on my copywriting guide is still going. So the last page they were just on, I was selling this guide. Now, Chris could buy this right in Facebook here. I'm just showing you guys kind of the possibilities of, right? So put in your credit card. No, I'm just kidding. But this is dynamic, right? So if they click that and don't buy, the back-end system will track that, and I can do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'll show you guys.
So just in quick summary, we're taking what we're doing so everybody's on the same page is in the morning session, I showed you how to be able to do it automated, an initial response to start a conversation. Let me say it again because it wasn't picking up. In the morning session, I showed you how to initiate messenger conversations with people, even using ads, to be able to initiate it. When you set up those ads, you have the ability to add what's called a bot, and these are called messenger bots. Sean's showing you how simple it is very, very quickly to be able to set up these quick little automated responses with lags. So now if you're wanting to automate your business a little bit more, what I like to do is experiment with some back and forth conversations, figure out what works. And then once you kind of see what works, there's no reason to do the same thing over and over and over. That's where Sean likes to automate anytime. Right. But in the beginning, feel free to experiment. And like, if you don't know what you should say next or what should happen, experiment. But once you figure it out, you can start the conversation, and then there's a delay. giveaway, and then it's going to sell something, and you see how many of those people buy, and it's all done automatically. He hasn't done anything.
Yeah, I've connected a few things to it, but this is, I'm just showing them a few tools right now that I use in my business so that they can steal them. This is another, anybody ever done any surveys to maybe for clients or for themselves, like Survey Monkey or anything like that? So this is another tool like that called Typeform. Yeah, it's what I'm using actually. So I send them to this from that Facebook message. So now I want their email. I already got them on Facebook. Now I want to capture their email. So I'm asking them which guide they'd want. They can select multiple ones, right? And then I say, awesome, you select health, business, blah, 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 blah. So what's your name? My name's Chris.
What's the name of it again?
Typeform.
Typeform.
Yeah.
Like a type of form, but it's just Typeform.
So that's Typeform. It's very dynamic as well. I'm a big fan of where you can do like multivariable stuff. Like you can make it super simple and linear, but if you can get very nitty-gritty, nerdy, you can do some cool stuff. So see how this says, nice to meet you, Chris? Like this is all in the software. That's a mighty fine name.
Thank you.
Yeah. What email should I send your downloads to? So I could have said just, what's your email? I'll send you the guide. So if you make the copy a little more personable, especially if your audience is a little more, chill, it can get...
You're making it more conversational.
Yeah.
So I'm not just filling out a form. It's just more conversational. It's a little bit easier.
Right. And then I do another call to action here. As a special thanks, I'll include a preview of my brand new guide. I'll send it to you to the email that he just put in. Say, awesome, send it all.
I'll send a FGU. We got to fix that one.
Did I spell it right?
Oh, no.
Oh, I'll send
I'll send you. He was
I still make sales.
He's drunk when he writes most of everything.
But then, even on the last page after they confirm, I try to sell them again. It's like, by golly, get it. And then this links back to this sales page that says, this page is still under construction, but you can still buy it.
Still make sales. Can't spell, can't finish a page.
Yeah, I think people respect it. So another cool tool I'll put out there. And by the way, these are shiny objects, so don't feel like you have to use these all. I'm just showing you guys, because you'll run into situations like that video tool. I put that it's like logged in my brain now as a tool that when I run into that issue, I know where to go now. Mm-hmm. I used to go out, hire a video editor, go to Video Hive, send them a couple versions, and it would take a whole day, basically.
And that's you doing it fast. That's still you outsourcing.
Right, and that's me even sometimes downloading After Effects and plugging it in because I just know enough, right? So if you can find a tool that does it faster, holy crap, that's awesome.
I told you it was a good battle for those other ones.
Yeah, I was skeptical. I was.
He was skeptical. He didn't believe that it was any good. He's like, why aren't you showing them Video Hive?
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man.
Adobe After Effects. We should be learning Adobe After Effects.
Right. All of you need to buy Adobe After Effects. Do not. Here's a cool tip. Don't buy any software ever, and you'll have to learn how to outsource stuff. I made the mistake of trying to learn absolutely everything. So Typeform's a good one. That's really good for dynamic, especially for lead generation and curation. I have one for my Mastermind, which this is not a pitch because you can't sign up because it's not for sale yet.
Everything is under construction. Did you notice that?
That's my whole.
His whole
jam.
marketing technique is. Yeah. I have a $50,000 program. It's under construction. Nobody can get in. And at the end, there's a line. Please, please, please. We'll pay you double.
Well, so Brittany, you should use this with your email or your phone call deal, your phone marketing that you do. No,
Double or Nothing with Sean Vosler.
Right. So, but this is Typeform again, and it can serve as its own web page, right? So first off, let's get to know each other a bit, and this could be a copy lesson, right? My name's Sean Vosler. What's yours? So this is a conversation. This isn't just asking what's their name, and you can see.
So quick tip. He's just designing a form. All this is, most people do when they design a form is they just put first name, last name, email address, and this, that. He's making it more conversational. He says, hey, he's actually making it it looks like a sales page.
Imagine you're sitting in a bar with somebody. That's what I always try to do, and I tend to drink when I do that. But if you sat down next to somebody and you knew they had a certain problem that you could solve and you were hell-bent on solving it for them, what would you say? right? You want to jump right in and say, you know what, Chris?
Here's your problem, Sean.
Here's your problem.
Here's your problem.
It's okay to get a little bit to know him a bit.
Sean, let me ask you a question.
What's that?
What industry are you in?
That's a good question.
What's your email?
Okay. All right. Now you're getting a little personal. But see, on this page, you'll see this line is a big promise. All right. I say, I've yet to find a business I couldn't help double profits by using my 5 very specific marketing techniques. That's like my claim, right? Strong claim, I know, but let me show you how it works. So that's an open loop. So first rule in copywriting is to get people's attention. How many of you want to double your profits by next week? All of us, right? So that's getting attention. Sometimes
0 times 2 is 0, Sean.
Exactly. That's a problem with some revenue models. But that's why I say, like down here, results are typical for the right kind of clients. Like I give myself a little bit of an out because I can't do it for everybody. So anyways, you fill this out. That's a strong name, Chris. Nice to meet you.
It is.
Tell me a little bit about your business. You say, I have a... Oh, wait.
That's how I talk. Can you do that again?
Hi, Ron. So this is another cool thing with this tool is it'll
Auto suggest.
Yeah, you can put in a bunch of stuff, and I sell info products.
Ooh, I do.
Right? So what's your business name, Chris? Dab.
Dab.
Yeah. Anyways, so I like doing this kind of stuff, just kind of throw people out of... I just assume everybody's like kind of hypnotized when they're reading stuff on the internet. Like they're just zoned out. Like I know I am usually. And I'll find myself on a webpage, I'm like, why am I even here? Like I don't even know what I'm doing. So stuff like this, anything you can do to break people's, I don't know what state, hypnotic state, right, is good. So this is just weird. This is something out of the blue, but it'll get people's attention, all right? So Dab, neato business name you got there, Chris, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you currently with your business profits?
7, Sean.
7.
7.
So it could, I hear you.
Safe answer.
Happy or not, there's always room for improvement. All right, so then you get the idea. So I'm collecting all this data because for a high ticket service, like this is a mastermind, charge 10K, whatever it is, like I want to pre-qualify the buyer. I want to make sure they're a company I can actually help. I want to make sure they have any revenue because I can't double their revenue if they're not making any. So anyways, that's another good tool, Typeform, ClickFunnels, ActiveCampaign. So yeah, I was showing them this like send a messenger thing. So that's MiniBot, I'm pretty sure. I've been playing around with these types of pages. Should be fun. You can do a lot with ClickFunnels you may not have known.
Come with this.
Oh yeah, copywriting. All right, those are the main tools I use. You met was that the founder of Teachable?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool guy.
That seems pretty cool. I use Teachable as well for membership sites. And then I use Facebook.com for, no, I'm just kidding. That is where how many of you have high ticket service products? Few. Like over $2,000. Most of you? Okay. So it's funny. I still just freaking love networking on Facebook. I've shared this a lot, but behind every B is a C. So even if you're selling B2B, like connecting with people personally is a very powerful way. Like with Chris, we've been friends on Facebook. I saw we had our friendiversary. I think it was like 7 years or something.
Our friendiversary.
Friendiversary. I think I may have shared it. But what's fascinating about that is like you will go in and out of ebbs and flows with relationships over your lifetime, but you never know who you connect with on social media someday may be the next Techademic Dab, Chris Record, Rap Funnel founder, right? So if you connect with people who are doing cool stuff, over time you will build a brand, like you were saying, with getting your brand out on social media. It's why people pitch that all the time, is because it's in their lives, right? So I do something, I set people as a close friend. You guys familiar with how you can set people as acquaintances? And so anybody I want to pursue as a potential client someday, I'll set them as a close friend.
On Facebook, as a Facebook option, so that then Facebook will show you all of their messages. Whenever they post something, it'll pretty much guarantee it hits your newsfeed.
Yeah, and there's the law of branding, some blah, 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 21 impressions before you recognize a logo, right? Same thing I think applies with names. Like I got Frank Kern as a client because on Facebook interacted with pretty much all of his posts. And then one day he's like, I need some help with WordPress, and he just ended up doing a bunch of random stuff. But yeah, so I was pretty excited. I got an actual test print of my book back, but
It's a lot of yellow.
a lot of yellow. I'm a big fan of the yellow. I will show you guys. In fact, I'll give you all access to it.
He's got his little book here. Let's see. 7-figure marketing copy.
It started out as a free guide, then I was like,
I wonder how many spelling mistakes I'm going to find in the actual printed version
ready?
of the book. Page 1.
You ready?
Yeah.
Because this was a test print. I didn't even wait. What did I spell?
Oh, yeah,
wrong?
yeah. Oh, like right on the top. Introduction, but the way he spells it is introduction. Note from the author. Using the tech Wix in this guide has helped me in create big
money
business.
Big business.
Big boy business.
Oh, really?
It's a cool little book. You can check it. There's many. Don't worry about the spelling mistakes. Those are there on purpose to pattern interrupt.
Yeah, it's a pattern interrupt. I tell people that.
It's genius, actually.
It works. Always spell everything wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to show. I'll give you guys you can get the book for free.
And one thing about Sean is that there's somebody, like a lot of people can teach you, for example, copywriting. Like, okay, I'm going to share with you my 3 subject titles over my last 500 emails that got the highest open rate. That's valuable. But you know what's more valuable than that? The getting your mind to the point where you come up with titles like that on your own. That's a more valuable skill that you can use forever. Sean's really good at identifying the logic and discovering what it is that is the underlying fabric that makes something good. So a lot of people are very surface, just as, okay, here's the 5 keywords that are the best keywords. He's more like, why are those the best keywords? Like what is it that triggers in your mind? And then once you understand that, you no longer have to think about the 5 keywords. You'll just always know the triggers. So he's just good at that. He's not good at remembering passwords though.
All right, I was gonna log in on Gmail, but I didn't want to log in on your Gmail. Yeah, does anybody in here struggle with copywriting? They hate it or love it? Anybody love it? Hate it?
Hate.
Oh my God.
Any lovers? Hate.
I think I asked that a little bit ago. So what I've had to do over the last couple of years, because I write a lot of copy, I've written probably, I'm logging in with the wrong email, that's why. Sorry. I was going to pull up this guide so you guys can get it. I've had to come up with methodologies to actually do a lot of copy fast. So I'm going to show you guys. Oh my God, are you serious?
Get a text.
Get a text.
Get a text.
All right. This is what my laptop's in the bag. I just figured it'd be easier to. I was like, it's fine. Oh my gosh, these are so long.
That is actually pretty long.
9, 5, 0, 2, 8, 4. I'll show you guys the methods and then I'll give you access to them so that you can just have them.
Everybody's just anxiously waiting to see what pops up here since you're logging into your private email in front of everybody.
All right, we did it. Yes, confirm sign in. Good Lord.
All that.
I know, right? Come on. So this is Teachable, by the way, another tool I like to use.
I was just hanging out with the founder of Teachable yesterday at Digital Marketers War Room. Really cool guy. They're one of the membership platforms that has actually chosen to raise capital. So they've raised significant capital. They have a huge team. They've got a huge play out there. So they're putting a lot of money into their platform. It's a good platform.
Yeah, it's interesting because I used to build my own, membership sites on WordPress and stuff, and it's not hard. Is it Jeremy? Is that right? No. So LMS systems and stuff, and you just plug them in and they work, right? But at the end of the day, I like finding simple. When you're showing that video thing, it's like, holy crap! Keep it simple. So that's where Teachable is all right, you just plug it in, it works. I made this guide in Keynote. I'm done trying to figure out new tools. So I'm going to show you guys a couple copywriting methods, and I'm just going to show them from the membership area.
So this is pretty cool. Did you take your guide and break it into several different modules for the membership area?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm looking at here?
Yeah, so this is the actual book broken down. I just literally pulled in the pages into this program because
That's pretty cool.
You know, might as well make it a membership area. And eventually I'll make these into videos and all that jazz. But anyways, yeah, so that something fun is I actually just export to a Dropbox folder and it'll automatically update these nerdy stuff. I think I fixed imitation. Let's see. I did. I used to spell that wrong too. All right, so when we're talking about copywriting, we could be talking about emails, which is most of what I do, but it's not everything, right? Email marketing, blog posts, videos, anything. Like anything that's a visual or written marketing material is kind of what I'm trying to build these methods around. And I use these all the time. So first thing is coming up with an enticing like headline or something that captures people's attention. It's kind of copywriting 101. Like get their, pull them out of their like state so they'll listen to you. Because there's a lot of noise out there, right? By a show of hands, I saw the agency people. How many were doing affiliate marketing again? I know at least a couple here. Okay.
Over half.
When you are promoting, I'll pick on you for a second because you got long hair and it's like cool and it's like. So when you're promoting other people's products, do you do it mainly through email or advertising, or a little bit both?
Facebook mostly, like
Okay.
Facebook group, but also email campaigns.
Got it. And so I'm just curious. This is a softball question for myself, but no. So when you start like talking about the product, like what are some things that you try to do to get people's attention? Like is it? I'll just leave that as an open-ended question for you.
Well, I guess mostly I just start with whatever story comes into my mind from wherever in my lifetime, and then go from there and kind of make the pitch to something that will help them overcome that kind of. That's
Nice.
my approach.
It's actually a weird time. Larry, he basically got his type 2 diabetes in remission. He's working on a product for it. And remission's the wrong word, but it's pretty much gone away. And the first thing I asked him was like, well, what made you decide to make this? And he shared a story with me, right? He said, if you don't mind me sharing it, basically like came down with pneumonia and he had diabetes and like came close to death, right? Like it knocked you out pretty good. And he decided at that point that he didn't want to live life like that. And that's like a headline right there. Like that's the start of a story. Stories are an excellent way to do it. But I found that I could sit down and write down a bunch of different headlines, a bunch of different things, and try to figure out what works. But I wanted to find an easier way. And that's where this method came into play for capturing people's attention. We're going to actually work backwards from things that capture our attention and adjust them for our own marketing. All right, so this is, I have this quote up here, great poets imitate and improve, whereas small ones steal and spoil. We're going to imitate and improve on marketing that's already working out there. And this, again, these are headlines for blog posts, videos, they're starting points, they're conversation starters. So the first step we are going to do is actually take out a piece of paper. We're not going to go through each one of these right now. Don't worry, I won't make you do your homework just yet. But what I like to do is take out a piece of paper and at the top write down a brief description of what I want the writing piece to accomplish. So if I'm selling an affiliate product like yourself, like you said a really powerful thing. You said you try to find a place in your life that can apply, like part of your story that can connect with the product itself. So maybe that's like your goal for that advertisement, right? Could be a video, could be a blog post, it could be an email, doesn't matter. Then what I like to do from just this is brainstorming time. I like to go out to sites like Dig, Reddit, Google News, Medium.com, BuzzFeed. And these sites, the writers are paid by clicks, okay? So their only job, unfortunately, is to get a click. Like There's pros and cons to that. However, if that's their main job, my bet is that they're pretty good at it. I don't want to try to figure out every single time what's going to get people's attention. So I'll actually go and start, I'll pull up, for example, like dig.com as an example. And we want to find a headline that grabs our attention, all right? So maybe as I go down here, guys, if there's one that's like, oh, that's interesting, let me know what you guys think. Here's how bad the heat has been around the world. Try to find one that at least isn't so like specific, but yeah, so that's an interesting example. We'll use that one because that's, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry, I get excited about this stuff. I'm like, so yeah, we find a headline that's interesting. Why co-ed sports leagues are never really co-ed, okay? Then we want to do the next step here, which is basically focus on what, or less on what's being said and more on how it's structured. So, for example, I'm going to steal this whiteboard for a second. Let's see. So the headline here is why co-ed. And what's the name of your book?
Defeat Diabetes.
Okay, got it. Are never really co-ed. All right, so at this point, I like to go in and actually figure out this structure here because there's something interesting about it. I'm not really sure what it is. I'm sure there's a combination of nouns, verbs, adjectives, whatever, that make this work. But I generally just go in and take out the nouns, all right? And this will give us our structure. So why blank are or is never really blank. So this is the structure. Now we could plug in a topic, right? So your book, sorry, say it one more time.
Defeat Diabetes.
Defeat diabetes. So let's say you were wanting to write a blog post on just getting attention for type 2 diabetes, right? Why type 2 diabetes is never really well, I'm trying to think because they have this basically playing on itself, right? So why co-ed sports are never really co-ed. So why diabetes is never really curable, or why people think, or why, you can basically plug in different talking points based on the subject you want to talk about. So why marketing is never really marketing. Like this might not be the best example because you have to find something that is playing on itself. But the structure is there, right? And we can pull that out of almost any of these. Like I use the example in here of the man who perfected the laugh track. I really just, it caught my attention. I was like, well, someone who perfected something is someone I want to get to know, right? Like that, to me, is an interesting proposition. Like who perfected this, right? So that grabbed my attention. I broke it down to the structure. And then for this example, I used a real estate agent who perfected the short sale. So I just plugged in the topic and what they perfected, right? So in our in the diabetes example, we could say, meet the average guy who perfected the diet to, can't say cure, but that put his diabetes into recession or something like that, right? So long story short, the point here is we can harness the power of other people's marketing without having to reinvent it all ourselves. And then we can keep building on it. I like to add in basically more of a punch to it. So I'll add in at the end, like for this example, the real estate agent who perfected the short sale, and then I'll add in a promise, like, and learn how he 4x'd his agency's profits in 6 months. So we want to add a little more pizzazz sometimes. But here's some examples. We've got the laugh track one, the evolutionary reason children often write their letters backwards, the astonishing simple reason real estate agents often ignore short sales, and how many miss out on 400% higher profits. So you could actually go through, grab like 4 or 5 different headlines that captured your attention. How Silicon Valley has disrupted philanthropy. How XYZ has disrupted ZYX, right? You can grab a couple different of these and plug in your topic, and it'll give you plenty of places to start from an intention standpoint for your copy. And again, I'll send you guys this through Chris. I'll get you the whole guide and everything. Any questions on that method? I know it's kind of convoluted a little bit. But it's, yeah, I like to keep it as simple as possible, but it's funny. Like, it's always where I'll end up kind of like brainstorming something, and then I'll just get frustrated and go out. It started with Reddit. Like, I just like want to procrastinate, and then I'd go on Reddit and start just reading things, and then eventually I was like, oh, well, why did I click on this? What grabbed my attention in this? And harnessing that is super powerful, because then you can plug that into an email subject line, you can plug it into a blog post, you can start, that could be a video talking point. You just really need that initial hook to really get people's attention. So I'll show you guys these other 2 methods real quick, and then what I'd like to do actually is kind of that question or that problem thing that we were going to write down during lunch and talk about that. If this will open. There you are. So this is a similar method. This is, again, copywriting to me comes down to getting to understand who you're talking to a lot of times. And this is where this second methodology comes in, the Amazon R&D. We were talking about this just a touch, like going out and looking at other books in your niche, right? I found this interesting, this quote here by Smith Publicity. I'll just read it. Authors often agonize what they're going to title their book. Some high-profile authors pay thousands and thousands of dollars, and experts come up with a catchy title. But when it comes to book marketing of nonfiction, the subtitle is the most important element. What's your guys' favorite? Like, someone tell me their favorite like nonfiction book. Anybody want to volunteer? I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. No, I'm just kidding. So I always liked the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is pretty much a tagline. And he could have called the book like Influence, right? And that could have been the tagline, but he went straight for the tagline. I thought, how many people have heard of the book The Art of Not Giving an F, like that mindset book? I use that as an example in here because this is what's really selling the book, a counterintuitive approach to living a good life. If that's something you're interested in, then that book is something you want to read, right? Like that's really where the magic of these subtitles come in. They're doing several different things. For this one, it's questioning the reality of situations. I like this book, The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business, if you're curious about that, right? These are building curiosity. They're capturing attention. They're giving us strong promise. So we can take our same kind of methodology of breaking down interesting headlines from these books and from these different web pages, and actually look at books in our subject. So like you are in the health industry. So let's go to Amazon real quick and just look in books. And again, this is kind of a prompt for us. Diabetes. All right, goodbye pills and needles. So this is kind of the concept for you, right? You stopped taking medicine. So It's scary that he used the word cure, but that's all right. But check this out. Subtitle, type 2 diabetes and the 90-day cure. That's a pretty strong promise. If you have type 2 diabetes, hey, I'd be interested, right? Now, again, we can take some pieces out of that. We can look in other industries too, and pull out what worked in that subtitle, right? Especially in the best sellers. That's the big thing, is like, what is the best selling? Yeah, we'll just do most reviews right now. War of the Worlds comes up. Okay, that wasn't the best example. But yeah, the idea is we break down the subtitle that worked and apply it to our own topic, all right? Last but not least, I will show you guys, actually it's part of, I thought this is a pretty cool way to do some research on your audience. So this strategy I've been using for a long time just to get to understand what people actually would like want in a product or a service. And I guess the best way to refer to it is the benefit of the benefit. So you might know the benefit is something, but what's the benefit of that benefit? So who's got another product they want to break down a little bit? What do you sell? Because you got long hair too. No.
We have an agency, so
Okay.
we sell a bunch of different services. Like
All right.
Facebook
Ads. Okay.
Facebook ads.
All right. Now, the benefit of that for your customers is more leads and sales, right? Like that's when you come in and you say, hey, we're going to increase your leads and sales. Now, what's the benefit of that is where copywriting and marketing gets pretty exciting, because people automatically can infer benefits usually. Like well, okay, if I increase leads and sales, I get more money. Good. But what can that lead to in their business? All right, what if you go in for a pitch and you say, I'm going to increase your leads and sales, great. But if you go in and say, all right, what are your big business goals for the next 6 months? And they say, well, we want to hire a few more people. We want to set up a new location in another city, and we want to increase revenues 20%, right? Then you can work backwards from what they were wanting and give them the benefit of increasing that revenue is reaching those goals. So they get to hire more people that they want. They get to open that new location, and you're going to help them do that through your service. You can even go further and say, well, then you get to work less because you're making more, and you get to spend more time with your family. Like that's where you see these Super Bowl commercials, and you're like, they're like emotional and stuff, is because they're trying to touch on that, like the emotional strings. So I like do the same thing. I'll go into books out on Amazon, especially around the topic that I am writing about, and I'll start reading the reviews. So we want to go in. We'll go back to this here. This one has a ton of reviews, so 1,500 reviews. Now, let's say you were building a sales page for your guide on diabetes, and you wanted to pull out some key points that you want to make sure are in the book, but also like that people are interested in. So in the book here, we go down the reviews, we'll start getting some really useful information, all right? Like this is pretty cool. Hardly ever write reviews, but I feel compelled to share my wife's experience. So she tells a story, the benefit, like after 5 weeks, she's off all medications. Here's her, all right, tonight we decided a cheat meal. Looking in here. We will be back. Hang on a second. Nice. All right. So reverse your disease and give you a great chance at a long, complication-free life. Like that's a pretty powerful statement, right? Like all this other stuff's great. The story, you can't really like take her story. But the one line that stuck out to me is reverse your disease and give you a great chance at a long, complication-free life. I never would have personally like thought of a complication-free life as a benefit But in the context of this, there's a lot of complications. Like you got pneumonia, you said it almost killed you, but it was a side effect of the diabetes, right? So you can pull out a lot of really good nuggets from the review section of best-selling books in your industry. And then you pull those out. What I like to do is pull out the pieces I like. So I'll go in, highlight them, and grab statements I really like. Like this book has, I put my personal growth on the back burner for entirely too long. Like that's a lot of people can that's a familiar statement we've all probably taken part of, right? And then I'll pull out the bullet points for my copywriting and apply that. So, feel like you putting off your personal growth, or feel like you've put your personal growth on the back burner for too long, ? Our program helps you to prioritize what really matters without costing you all of your free time. So for the diabetes one here, are you tired of the complications that come along with diabetes and really want to give yourself a chance at a long, complication-free life? Let me show you how in the 4 steps, that I've put together, right? So a lot of these we can serve as prompts. I'll literally go through sometimes and print these out and just highlight them because I want to get physical with it. But yeah, that's another strong method for pulling content out of review sections, because these are generally real people with real reviews, and they're sharing heartfelt things, right? A lot of times it's life-changing things that's the kind of emotional stuff we want to pull out. So those are the 3 main methods I use. And then I'll include this, guys, because it's in the guide itself, but where is it? Beep, beep, beep. This is the structure I use on all of my emails, videos, everything, okay? This structure, it can be really long. Here, I'll steal it back. Go ahead. The terribly printed odd version of my book. I wasn't actually too terribly happy with the form. They messed up a lot of stuff. I mean, it's probably my fault, but I'll send you guys this as well. But this is, whether writing a video ad, whatever, this is the structure I almost always use. And if you read any of the marketing emails out there I've written, they generally fall in this angle, right? So I put a hook out there, which those are the 3 methods I usually use to come up with a hook. Position the problem, why it's important. And then I like to explain what most people think. So go back to diabetes, for example. Most people probably think you have to stay on medication for the rest of your life and there's nothing you can do about it. All right? The truth of the matter is, if you change your diet, you can reverse a lot of the effects. And you can even take that further. Like, most people might know that they need to change their diet, but they've tried and failed, and here's why, right? Like that's probably a thing you're going to have to address a bit, because everyone knows, well, not everybody, but a lot of people know they need to switch their diet to be healthier, especially in the diabetes case. But if you can have a good hook of why it's easier for them to stick to your diet because it's more of a lifestyle or something like that, it could be a nice hook. So here's the truth on the matter, right? So diet, and then why it's the truth, so you support the argument that you just made. And then this is when a lot of people miss out on when they're doing their marketing. But here's the damage that common belief has on those who believe it. So it's really easy in the diabetes case, is like, well, you're having to take all this medication all the time, you're not improving your life, you're just treating the symptoms, right? And the damage that it does is it might cut off years of your life because you're not actively trying to actually improve your health. You're just treating symptoms. So that one's pretty easy because it's pretty clear cut. All right. Then you can dive into what I've done to fix things, right? So you can share part of your story. I liked the personal story that you gave, how you shared that. That was really strong. And a big thing here, belief change. Did you find, because you said you talked with all your doctors, they couldn't help, right? What is it that shifted your belief that you could actually make a difference yourself?
I read a book.
Okay, you read a book, which in your book you might mention, but you also might say, I got a mentor or something. You know, Dr. So-and-so introduced me, or so-and-so. And that was your turning point, right? And that was where you started to believe that you could actually make a difference in your life.
Yes.
Okay, so that's really big to get across to people, that they can actually implement a change. If they don't believe that they can make it happen, then they often won't take action, right? So conveying that belief, if I can do it, you can do it. I was skeptical too. Here's how I overcame that. That's super powerful. Then tell them what you're going to tell them. Then tell them what you told them, right? So summarize the elements you were discussing, and then give them a call to action. So depending on what it is you're making, if it's an ad, it's a click to the next page. If it's a sales video, it's buy the product, things like that. So in a nutshell, those are the three main copy guides. I have a few more in here, but I'll pop these all over to you guys through Chris. So I wish I had like a handy link, but I don't. So yeah, that's all I've got on copy. I mean, we can talk about specific. I know someone was asking about like specific sequences and stuff, which I'm happy to walk through any questions you guys have on the specific marketing stuff I do for clients. But otherwise, I kind of want to keep this open to you guys and focus more on issues you're facing directly. And then I know we got Brittany coming up in a bit. How much time do I got, Peter? All the time I want?